Honestly, I fell in love with this show. It's so good for a whole matter of reasons. First of all, the way they have set it up, the way of watching it, giving us the audience the choice to watch, I think is very interesting. It's new and nuanced. It's something that you rarely get with TV shows, and I enjoyed that. I enjoyed character development, mainly from the character of Leo, who is the main protagonist, and we find out why he's doing this heist and how he knows these certain people and all that. I found that really cool. Now, admittedly, if you break down the plot enough, it's really just a revenge heist in its most surface level simple form. But if you dig deeper, it's more than that. We see that it's about family, not only from one character's point of view, but also the crew itself are part of the family. We see the characters Leo and Ava, somewhat the parents of the crew. We then have RJ, Stan and Judy. They're somewhat the good children in this family. And then we obviously have Bob, who's the dysfunctional child and will go against the parents and usually making quite bad situations, not only for himself but for the entire crew as well. Another topic that follows through this entire show is his betrayal and dealing with it. We see that through characters like Leo and how we see it before the heist, we see how the heist's inception became apparent because of betrayal, and then even during the heist and afterwards, betrayal is one of the biggest themes in this show, next to family. So what this show does really well is they take characters and make the audience believe they're acting out of the ordinary in a particular episode, and we may think that they're going to be the ones that betray the crew or they're doing something very shady throughout one particular episode, only for the next episode to take those exact same feelings you've had about that character and throw it onto another one. And I just thought that was a really cool way to experiment, well, make kind of a mind fuck for us, the audience. Like, ooh, is it him or is it her? Within this show there are so many small details that, if missed, may leave you slightly confused or just completely oblivious to what is actually going on, as there's so many small details that you need to pay attention to, as it will explain to another part, or you don't know who is who or what's going on. Really need to focus when watching this. I really thought the show's violence was amazing. Now, whilst I wouldn't say it's the most violent show, there were about 3 particular episodes which had some really cool violent scenes, and I think when it came to the violence itself, it was very impeccable but also eye-grabbing at the same time. Another thing I really enjoyed about this show was the soundtrack. It really added a lot of elements to the tension and emotional scenes that were going on within this show. I think the music added to it a great deal. The acting in this show was amazing, but specifically 2 particular actors I felt did their best. The main one being Giancarlo Esposito, who I'm going to be completely honest, after Breaking Bad, I felt like he was playing a variation of Gustavo Fring in the other shows he was appearing in, and it was so nice to see him break that and play a character who had no real connection to Gus and really add and bring this emotional performance from him, something we haven't seen from him since Breaking Bad. Another actor who, in a different way, I think did a better job is Jai Courtney. He's somewhat known as the comic relief in a lot of films, and for me personally it's a hit and miss. And so in this show he takes a somewhat different approach. While he is somewhat comedic, he is mainly the show's asshole. He is the asshole of the crew and the show in general. He actually was very remarkable at this role. He did a really great job. Now, when it came to the ending, I have to be completely honest, it was very sad, as we don't get to see the characters riding off into the sunset. They don't get that type of ending. We see some of them struggling financially, see characters just struggling in general, and we sadly see that characters are somewhat going after one another for cash, and it's ending up with characters we really like dying. It's really sad as you emotionally connect with them, and the ones that survive, they don't really get off any better. Now, when it comes to critiques, I actually only have one, and that mainly is towards a flashback episode with Giancarlo Esposito, as we see him 24 years younger than he is, and I don't know what they did, but something about his face looks a bit disfigured. I don't know why. It was either the makeup or like CGI, but it's something about the face. It's very off-putting, but that is my only critique. Overall, I thoroughly enjoyed this show. It's such a shame that they gave us quite a gut-wrenching ending, killing off characters off and on screen, and we don't get to a follow-up, but at the same time it's such a remarkable show, very creative, even if they are dealing with very basic plot, and it was a great way to start 2023 off. Is this show good? I'd say it's fucking great. Rating wise, I'd say a 9 out of 10. Recommendations. First of all, I'd say Reservoir Dogs, as not only for its non-linear plot, but also at the same time there's a scene in one of the episodes where all the characters have a Mexican standoff, and it just reminded me of that particular film. Next we have Ocean's 11, original and remake. The reason I say that is because whilst those films and the show have this really convoluted way of setting up the heist and pulling it off, when you really break it down, it's just a simple revenge heist. Next is The Town. Whilst not very clever in that sense, but more action-packed, it's similar in a way of that we have these emotional connections to these characters. You really want them to win, somewhat like on the show. Now when it comes to acting, I think Giancarlo did the best, and I think he's a recommendation wise. Obviously I'm going to say Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. He's brilliant at those, but I feel like he has done better roles. He does the voice for Lex Luthor in the animated show Harley Quinn on HBO Max. But there's a particular role I want to recommend to you, and that is he had a one-off appearance in a TV show called NYPD Blue. It's in season 3, episode 17. He plays this HIV-infected drug addict who robs Colombian drug dealers, and the police are trying to get info out of him, and he's somewhat cooperating. And even though it was a one-off appearance, it was very eye-grabbing, and I feel like that character got to live on and become a whole different thing in The Wire as Omar. They had very similar traits. Those are my recommendations. This has been my review. If you have enjoyed, please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.